2022 Prior Lake Spring Lake Watershed District Board meeting. And our first item is a call us to order and a pledge of allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our next item on the agenda, is there any public comment? If anybody wants to address the Board of Managers on an item not on the agenda or on the consent agenda, please come forward at this time. Okay, not seeing anybody. We'll go to the next item, which is approval of the agenda. And I would make one change. It's item 4.3, which should be removed from the agenda, which is the employee benefit policy at this time. Is there any other changes, modifications on the agenda from staff? Joni? Any from the board? Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Frank and second by Ben. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're going to go to old new business. We're going to start off with programs and projects. And who has that? Jeff?
Hello, I will be delivering the projects and programs update. To start us off, we talk about lake levels. As of the 17th, Wednesday, August 17th, Prior Lake is at 899.53. That's a little over half a foot lower than the last meeting, so it continues to fall. Spring Lake is at 909.74, about 0.33 feet less than last meeting, and Pike Lake 819.37, same as Spring Lake, 0.3 lower than last month's. So I thought I would bring back a previous sort of segment to the board meeting, which is called the Monitoring Minute. This is where staff can have been able to show what some of the programs and projects and a small bit of analysis or information about some of the work that we do. And I'm going to be talking about how we get our lake levels from the field into the website. So we operate 4 OTT loggers this year in our Tier 1 lakes. They record level every 15 minutes. They transmit the data through a cellular service. And these loggers are programmed to collect the water level. And we use the DNR's surveys from the staff gauges to build confidence in that level. These loggers transmit data into our FTP site, which is like a back-end website where communications will land. The FTP site acts as kind of a temporary storage location for our logger files. And the EOR, our engineering service, hosts a script that will scrape the FTP site. It'll collect these log readings from this back-end website that we have, and it'll pull these and push them into our database. So our database is also currently hosted on the EOR server due to our website service no longer supports it due to its age. So the EOR hosted database, which is where we keep all our water quality information, will get pushed this data from the FTP site. And that's where we can, when we need it, we can go and collect any sorts of water quality data, lake levels, and do analysis on. So from the database, our website hosting service will then pull data through like a JavaScript, like a web tool, and we can build a graph on our website from that. So it's a pretty complicated system, and none of us here are like web tech folks, so it's making its way through, and it works. But because if you were to look on our website right now, you would see the Spring Lake graph is down, so it's not always working, but it takes time, and eventually we'll figure out where the bugs are. And so just some information about our loggers here, and thought it would be somewhat interesting to hear the steps that it takes. All right, back to normal programming here. We removed 540 pounds from the desilt pond this month. Starting as early as next week, we'll be piloting a study to use baited hoop traps. These hoop traps are a passive carp trap used in other parts of the U.S., but not in Minnesota. We're hoping to have good success starting on Spring Lake as early as next week. We will be presenting at the Water Resource Conference in October, discussing our MPCA 319 and Bowser grant activities. So that's a pretty exciting opportunity for us, and to showcase the district's successes over the last 3 and 4 years. And we're also currently working on a 2023 grant proposal for the Clean Water Fund.
Hey, Jeff, question on the presentation. Who's all going, staff? Who's presenting?
The staff presenting will be myself, Elizabeth, and Shauna.
Okay, all three of you.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
We've also been working to build our whiskey database. So this involves migrating our current data from what is being stored on EOR's database. It's the district database on EOR's server. So we're building it to fit our needs. We're standardizing naming conventions, protocols, and we're creating these automated data processing and inputting, uploading processes. It's another learning step for us, but we're creating a system that is going to be super helpful. But this has been a kind of a time-consuming process this last week or two. Shauna will be hosting the Starry Trek volunteer AIS searching program on Saturday, August 20th. She's still looking for more volunteers. The volunteers will receive Starry Stonewort ID as well as other aquatic AIS knowledge. And this search will take place in Scott County priority lakes. The district will also be hosting a booth at the farmers market.
And once again, this has been updated even since this presentation's put together. The date has been changed to September 7th, Thursday, September 7th. So once again, we will be asking if any of the managers want to help staff the booth to once again interact with residents of the watershed district. We'll also be inviting our CAC members to also help staff the booth as well. So we're really tried to design some interactive activities to spur conversation with folks, providing literature to help them to share with folks on what they can do to help protect water quality in the district, and also to share information and do a little bit of education on what illicit discharge is. And once again, things to not put down the storm drain because that would impact the quality of our lakes. So trying to share that information out in a fun and interactive way.
Joni, it's September 8th, which is a Thursday. It's the farmer market by Tractor Supply, correct?
Correct. Thank you for the correction. Yes.
And do you know what time that starts? Because I think they start early or not. 4 o'clock? 5 o'clock? Have any idea? Anybody?
Manager Loney, I don't know. I can certainly get back to you on what time that farmer's market starts. This is really a very recent change in dates and time.
Yeah. Maybe you could send out a notice to all the managers so that they will know if they want to attend.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, I wonder if do we have any of our 50-year anniversary pamphlets left, and could we possibly give those out at that event as well?
Manager Morgenberg, we can certainly produce, if we don't have any right now, we could certainly print out some additional of those 50-year anniversary brochures and have available at the booth. So right now, I'll give you just a quick status update on some of our projects. Really, for the no real change for the Spring West Iron Enhanced Sand Filter or the Sutton Lake Iron Enhanced Sand Filter. For the Buck Wetland Enhancement Study, soil samples have been collected and have been analyzed. The consultants now, though, are in the process of preparing some potential enhancement options based on the findings from those soil samples, really trying to understand whether those wetlands, if there is extended periods of water in them, whether they'd be a sink or a source of phosphorus. And our goal is to, once we have those potential options in place, to schedule our next meeting with the landowners, hopefully yet this fall. Next. Originally, we were proposing the Ditch 13 chemical treatment system as part of our WBIF funding for this year. We are now thinking to change which upper watershed blueprint project we would like to solicit or submit for that funding. So right now, our thoughts are to instead submit the Swamp Lake Iron Enhanced Sand Filter to Bowser for funding through the WBI funding program. In order for us to do that, we do need to solicit our partners in the watershed planning area and make sure they're on board and agree with us making this switch of projects from Ditch 13 chemical treatment to the Swamp Lake Iron Enhanced Sand Filter. And then on the Sutton Lake Management Plan, we have recently had a meeting with the DNR to receive their feedback about potential ways to handle drawdowns within that management plan. And now we are working to determine what our next steps are based on that DNR input. It was a little bit of a surprise in what they told us in terms of how we were thinking about addressing drawdowns within the plan. So we kind of have to rethink our approach and figure out what our next steps are from here based on what we heard from the DNR. And then lastly, there is a meeting scheduled with our Prior Lake Outlet Channel TAC to really dig in and try to determine what are the scope of tasks needed to research the feasibility of increasing the flow out of Prior Lake. So that will be part of the Prior Lake Outlet budget, but right now working with that TAC to understand and brainstorm what are all the different things we need to research and study to determine if it is feasible to increase flow through the Prior Lake Outlet Channel.
Moving on to the Prior Lake Outlet Channel current project, the permit was approved. The construction has begun. This picture is completed segment 1. The focus on these 4 sections are to wrap up priority areas not covered through the FEMA project. They are focusing on stabilizing the stream toe, creating floodplain potential storage, and reducing bank slope. The project will be potentially completed in early September. And this photo's segment 4, right at the end of Jackson Trail in the lake. Any questions?
Any questions for staff? Project update? Christian?
Do you feel you have enough technical assistance when you work on the software modifications, or how could we help you further?
We use one of UR's staff who's extremely talented at software and web area right now, and he's been very helpful in navigating the troubles that we're experiencing. So it's been really helpful.
Thank you.
Frank or no, Ben? Nothing? No. I'd be interested in seeing some pictures or video of that, what do you call that, new carp trap when you get it going.
Yes, the baited hoop traps.
Yeah.
Sure, I will give an update during the next meeting on the success. Hopefully we get results this time. We've also installed pit tracking stations that we normally put in the streams, but since the streams are dry right now, we put one in the lake near where the entrance of the trap will be. So we'll get some real data on whether fish are, we'll know if they enter it because they shouldn't leave, but also if they're being hesitant. So interesting
Okay.
data collection.
Very good. All right. No other questions? It's time to have an intern presentation, a highlight of our summer.
Right, so President Loney and Manager, this summer we were very fortunate to have 2 really talented interns join the team, Kendra Held and Sydney Jones. Both Kendra and Sydney were contracted to work with us each for 400 hours. Sydney already has wrapped up her 400 hours, and last Friday was her last day, and Kendra's last day will be this Friday. So we're fortunate though yet to have Kendra here so that she can make a presentation to you and share a little bit of what her experience has been with the Watershed District this summer and answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Kendra.
Hi, I'm Kendra. I'm looking forward to sharing what Sydney and I have been up to this summer. So one of the main responsibilities that interns take on each summer is to inspect the conservation easements that are within the district boundaries. So there are roughly 60 areas that we went out and conducted field inspections at. During those inspections, we were looking for violations such as like mowing into the easement or dumping of brush or other items that are not supposed to be in those areas, and then also looking to make sure that the signs that are supposed to mark those boundaries are in the correct place. We had an iPad with us on those field monitoring sessions, and that was really helpful for us to be able to find the exact location of where we were supposed to go. Especially if we're out in the woods and kind of trying to figure out, do we go right or left or forward or wherever. So that was especially helpful for us in that field work. One of the things that Sydney and I enjoyed the most this summer was conducting invasive species management. On the left, you can see a photo of our first day electrofishing, which neither of us had done before. And then in the middle photo is a picture of a seining event that we were able to help out with at the desilt pond connected to Spring Lake. And then on the right is a photo of me driving a boat. Cindy and I both learned how to drive boats and trailer them this summer, and that was a great learning experience for both of us that we really appreciated and were able to use in other management tasks, including radio tracking in Upper Pryor and Spring Lake to help understand where the carp are season to season, week to week. And then currently we are baiting box traps on the north side of Spring Lake with corn. So we also bring the boat out to drop that off. One of our other favorite things that we did this summer was working on biobasing or collecting aquatic vegetation data from various lakes within the district, either using a fishing boat or a kayak. So the lakes that we biobased are listed on the left, and we go out and basically drive or kayak in circles to collect all that data, which would later be used to understand how vegetation is changing season to season and year to year based on different strategies that are being implemented by the district. One of the lakes that we were able to biobase is Kate's Lake. We saw lots of really interesting wildlife at this lake and several other lakes. But one thing that Sydney was able to document and take a video of are these goldfish, which are kind of fun to see. They, we think that they were attracted to the orange kayak because it looks like them. But yeah, interesting to see that, but also unfortunate that those are present in that lake. So once we collect that data out in the field, we bring it back to the office and upload it to the Biobase website, and that produces maps that you can see up on the slides. On the far right is an example of a map that is showing depth, and then the middle map is what we're actually most interested most of the time in figuring out what percentage of vegetation is in these lakes. So areas of high vegetation are in red, less is blue, and figuring out how to pair that data with other information that's being collected on what types of species are in those areas and how that has grown or lessened season to season. We would also input the tracking data from our fieldwork into maps to see how that is changing seasonally as well. On a weekly basis, Sydney and I would conduct camp sampling, so just basic water quality sampling on Little Pryor Lake. And then we also monitored the rain gauge and updated that information daily with precipitation data. And finally, we were able to write a couple articles for the Scott Scene and then create other educational materials to be used at upcoming outreach events and then past events, such as weed pulling at the Fish Lake Township. So Sydney is going to be a rising senior at Macalester College, and she'll be working as an intern this fall at ISG in St. Louis Park. She's really excited to work with that environmental engineering, architecture, planning, and design firm and continue working on some more like urban sustainability issues. As for myself, in September, I will be moving out to Telluride, Colorado to start a one-year AmeriCorps service term with a nonprofit called Eco Action Partners, and they focus on energy and zero waste issues within the counties around Telluride. Finally, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all of our supervisors and mentors. They helped us a lot in figuring out how to embrace field work and figure out lots of new skills and things, and we really appreciate them and really enjoyed our time with the Watershed District this summer.
Well, thank you for serving us this summer. And is this goodbye? You're not coming back next year?
No, I'm going to be out in Colorado, so
Okay.
it's a little bit of a trip, but
Oh, thought I'd give it a shot. Okay. Any other comments from board members? Christian?
Yes, so I feel you have made a difference, significant difference in many areas. Plus you have learned things, and you're both professionals, so it's really, we very much appreciate you being here.
thank you. Yeah, we really enjoyed our time.
Okay, well, thank you. And look out, Colorado, here she comes. Okay, with that, we're going to go to our treasurer's report with Manager Morkenberg.
Thank you, President Loney. We have, we are basically sitting well in terms of cash balance. We are within the budget on expenditures. We expect next year to have significant payments for the PLOC project, so we'll have to budget for that for next year. We still have funds in different banks with the goal of ultimately have all our funds in 4M.
No, I didn't.
And I think we have our restricted or committed funds that we have, some of which we are planning to use this coming year here. So I think that's my report. Any questions?
Any questions for anybody?
Thank you.
Oh, good report. Looks like our funds are doing well.
Yes.
And I like the fact that we're getting some interest on some of our funds now. And I believe in Joni's program report, she's going to, I think we're finally going to transfer, our next step would get all the funds in September. We're going to get all the funds into 4M. Is that correct?
President Loney, it may not be until October. There's two phases. We are, moving to the electronic payment system this month, but it will take us one more month to transfer over our payroll ADP processes. But the goal is to have all of those new processes in place and be able to transfer all the funds into the 4M account no later than October.
And I know I'm on the bill pay approval list, and is every board member supposed to be on the bill, or just two, or how is that supposed to
The
work?
system that we have in place is that it requires 2 board members to approve the payments. And so staff has entered the information. I approved it first, and then Manager Loney will approve, and then Manager Morkenberg, as being the treasurer, will have the final approval. So it is really just, it's a matter of cost as well in terms of the number of seats. So right now we have it just set up for staff who needs access, and then 2 managers to approve.
Okay, so wait, you're right, I remember that now, it's an extra cost adding a manager in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're at the consent agenda, and the agenda has a lot of meeting minutes from the past meetings of June 30th, July 12th, July 12th, July 18th, claims lists, Metropolitan Council amended and restated draft and flowage PLOC easement, Amazing Acre Conservation Easement, and Keyland Development LLC Conservation Easement. I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Manager Boyles, second by Manager Morkenberg to approve the consent agenda. Didn't hear anybody ask for anything to be removed, so it requires a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It has to be unanimous, and it is. Consent agenda is approved. Manager Boyles, would you like to tell us about the upcoming meeting and event schedule?
I'd certainly like to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a number of meetings coming up that may be of interest. First, the Board of Managers Workshop, Tuesday, September 13th, 4 p.m., right in this building here in Parkview Conference Room. Thereafter, at 6 p.m., is the Board of Managers monthly meeting. That, again, is Tuesday, September 13, 6 p.m., in this august chambers. The PLOC Cooperative, did I pronounce that right? PLOC.
PLOC.
Pardon me. The PLOC Cooperatives quarterly meeting is Thursday, September 15, from 12 noon to 1:30, here again in the Prior Lake City Hall in the Parkview Conference Room. And finally, the CAC, Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, takes place Thursday, September 29, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., again here in City Hall, but this time in the Wagon Bridge Conference Room, which is in the lower level of City Hall.
Thank you, Frank. With that, we are, need a motion to adjourn. Motion and second by Manager Tofinelli. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's approved, and we are done at 6:31. Thank you. Good night.